Good afternoon, everyone. It's Weatherzilla, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're talking about Tropical Storm Beta and that it will be hitting the southeastern coast of Texas, and an update on Hurricane Teddy. Before I do get started with the video, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do enjoy the weather content that I do provide, and make sure to hit that like button. Let's see if we can get this video up to 5 likes. So here you can see the National Hurricane Center's area of disturbance. As you can see, we are now in the Greek alphabet with Tropical Storm Beta, as we did have Tropical Storm Alpha kind of hit Portugal, and then we have Tropical Depression Wilfred, Hurricane Teddy, and then we have the remnants of Paulette that could reform, that they could rename, and then we have another wave of an area of disturbance across the coast of Florida. So you can see the 5-day outlook. You can see that kind of area off the coast of off of Florida is around under a 40% chance of forming, and then with the remnants of Paulette, it does have a 40 to 60% chance of reforming. So let's talk about Tropical Storm Beta, as it will be hitting the southeastern coast of Texas. Let's get into these key messages. So the expected slow motion of Beta will produce a long duration rainfall event from the middle Texas coast to southern Louisiana. Flash, urban, and river flooding is likely. Rainfall will then spread northward into the lower Mississippi River Valley by next week, or by midweek, where flash, urban, and river flooding is possible. There is the danger of life-threatening storm surge near times of high tide through Tuesday along portions of the Texas and Louisiana coasts within the storm surge warning areas. Residents in these areas should follow advice given by local officials. Tropical storm force winds are occurring along portions of the northwestern Gulf Coast within the tropical storm warning area in Louisiana. These winds will spread westward to the Texas coast later today and Monday. So you can see the National Hurricane Center's and NOAA's cone. You can see it's going to remain a tropical storm. This was projected to become a hurricane a couple of days ago. Here you can see that wind field. There's a pretty nice wind field. So you are experiencing some of these winds if you were on the Louisiana coastline. And then you can see right here, we do have tropical storm watches and warnings out for the southeastern coast of Texas. Here's a little bit of a closer view of the wind field and the tropical storm warnings that are currently in effect. You can see it did kind of form down here towards the bottom half of the Gulf of Mexico, and then made its way and had a sharp left-hand turn, and this storm has severely slowed down. Here you can see the U.S. rainfall projections. So we're currently looking at around 10 to 15 inches of rain possible on landfall, and then kind of as it dissipates, around 6 to possibly 10 inches of rain, and then kind of towards the northern part of Louisiana, a portion of 6 to 10 inches of rain. Here you can see the storm surge. You can see, as you heard in the key messages, you can see there could be some very intense storm surge during high tide. And we're looking at around 2 to 4 feet of storm surge around Galveston Bay. So if you are anywhere in here, you need to be listening to your higher officials. You need to be evacuating, because this could become very severely and dangerous storm surge. Here you can look at the chances of flooding. You can see on your right side of your screen days 1 through 3 from NOAA, and then you can see we have around a 20% moderate chance for severe flooding. Now we're going to look at the SPC outlook. You can see they have for the day 2 outlook, you can see we have a marginal area of possible severe weather. Around a 2% chance of tornadoes once it does kind of reach the coast. So if you're in this area, you need to be heads up for possible tornadoes with the outer bands of this tropical storm. And then around a 5% chance for wind damage and possible severe winds. So let's look at some satellite imagery. You can see, look how slow this storm is moving. It still hasn't even made landfall with its outer bands. You can see a very deep area of convection where the low is right in here, and we're looking at around negative 80 on the cloud tops. So very cold clouds, very deep areas of convection, which means very intense thunderstorms, and that could be producing very intense rainfall. You can see on the water vapor, you can see that area of convection really well right in here as it does kind of start to fire off. And then here on the true color, you can see what it looks like right now. You can see that area of convection right in here really just kind of sit there, and it could possibly, this could still intensify, but there is some wind shear in the air that could kind of halt that. We'll get into that here in a little bit. Now let's look at some track guidances and model intensities. You can see most of the models are consistent with it hitting in around 48 hours, and then it's just going to be a matter of where's it going to turn right. Now the AV&I model actually has it having a right-hand turn and then going all the way up through Missouri, and then a lot of the other models have it kind of going straight out kind of towards the Tennessee area. So the models aren't very consistent yet, but we're going to have to be keeping our eyes on it. It's just going to be a matter of when will this storm turn right after it makes landfall. Now we're going to look at the intensity guidance. This storm is projected to stay at a tropical storm status and practically fall apart here in around 36 to around 60 hours, and then it will fall back down into a tropical depression or a low remnant low. So the tropical storm beta stats, the current pressure is at 996 millibars. Current winds are at 50 knots or at 60 miles per hour. The current movement is at 4 knots or at 5 miles per hour, and the current location on the latitude-longitude scale is at 27.6 north, 93.6 west. So here is my forecast. I have it maintaining tropical storm status for about 60 hours just because I think that it's gonna hug the coast, and then it still could use some of that water to kind of help keep its intensity. And then around 84 hours, I have it becoming a tropical depression. But its current stats, you can see right here on the bottom of your screen, and then right around here, I have it at its highest peak in about 48 hours with winds at around 62 miles per hour. But its lowest pressure will be at 994 millibars here in about 24 hours. So let's kind of switch focuses now to Hurricane Teddy. That still is a major threat to Bermuda. You could be receiving some of those outer bands from these storms. So let's look into the key messages here. So the center of Teddy is forecasted to move east of Bermuda on Monday. Tropical storm conditions are likely on the island beginning this evening and could continue into Monday evening. Teddy is expected to transition into a powerful post-tropical cyclone as it moves near or over portions of Atlantic Canada early next week, where there is an increased risk of direct impacts from wind, rain, and storm surge. Residents there should closely monitor the progress of Teddy and updates to the forecast, and large swells produced by Teddy are expected to affect portions of the Leeward Islands, the Greater Antilles, the Bahamas, Bermuda, and the east coast of the United States and Atlantic Canada during the next few days. These swells could cause life-threatening surf and rip current conditions. So let's look at the map here. So Teddy was a Category 4 hurricane at its peak, just kind of towards the south east of where it currently is. You can see Bermuda has tropical storm warnings are in effect right now, and then it will weaken into a tropical storm at landfall, what they're saying here, kind of off the coast of the Atlantic Canada. Here you can see the kind of closer up view of the current wind field. You can see pretty well balanced wind field there, as long with the hurricane conditions wind field right in here where the low center is right now. Here you can be expecting these wind fields in Maine at around Tuesday afternoon, possibly Tuesday evening, and then kind of along once it decides to kind of turn right, it's going to become a fish storm. Maybe you could be receiving something kind of towards the northern part of this storm. Here you can see the model guidance. You can see right here most of the models are very, very consistent with it turning right, and then the AV&I model does have it kind of heading right a little bit farther than everyone else. But other than that, the models are fairly consistent with it turning right and then kind of heading up towards the Arctic. On the intensity guidance, you can see one model, the HWFI, has it becoming a Category 4 hurricane once again here in about 108 to 120 hours. But other than that, most of the models right now have it at a Category 2 hurricane and then it falling apart down into a tropical storm here in about 60 to around 84 hours. Now let's look at the satellite image. You can see the low is somewhere in here. You can see where that deep convection is. The storm, was not, it's been stronger than what it's been. And then here on the water, you can kind of see that area of convection right out in here. It's not very strong, but you can see it still kind of swirling in the middle right there. And then here on the true center, you can see Bermuda is currently right here. So it's going to be making a right-hand turn here somewhere pretty soon. But other than that, you can still see that area of convection with those outer bands could be affecting Bermuda here in the next couple of hours. Current stats for Hurricane Teddy: pressure is at 964 millibars, winds are at 90 knots or at 105 miles per hour. Current movement is at northwest at 8 knots or 9 miles per hour, and its current location is at 28.6 north, 63.1 west. So not going to spend much time here on Tropical Depression Wolfhead, as it is expected to kind of die off here tomorrow evening. Here you can see the models there's not a lot of models out on it right now, so we're not going to spend much time, but most of the models have it kind of going out farther than turning right. And then on the intensity guidance, you can see most of the models are very consistent with it practically falling apart. And then a couple models do have it kind of re-strengthening into a tropical storm. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't have a forecast out on this storm because it's just a tropical depression. There's no real point. So let's kind of skip here over into the sea surface temperatures. You do see right here in the Gulf, we are seeing towards the Miami part here a very warm waters. You can see also down here where tropical storm Beta is very mid to upper 80s in sea surface temperatures. You can see along the Carolina coast, very cool waters, which could kind of help them, with these storms that could possibly just kind of not help it form as quickly or not be as powerful. Here on the wind shear, you do see there is some pretty significant shear right where tropical storm Beta is. So it's somewhere right here, and it is expected to kind of turn right where there is that practically real deep shear that's going to affect that storm pretty significantly. And then here's a kind of closer view. You can see where Hurricane Teddy is right here, and then we have tropical storm Beta. You can see very intense wind shear up to the north here that is going to affect Teddy from intensifying any further, I think. And we do have some decreasing shear here along where tropical storm Beta and where Hurricane Teddy currently is. Now let's look at the Saharan air dust. You can see there's hardly any Saharan air dust that could be kind of keeping Beta from causing anything to happen, but there is some significant Saharan air dust to the northeast of Teddy that could, cause some higher air pressure to kind of get into that and start to weaken it. That's going to do it for the video, guys. Hopefully you all did enjoy. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, share with your family, friends, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.